Well, here we are again with the hubs. So shortly after that last clip, I was assembling the whole front end and got the new hubs on that were cut, the new cut down hubs, and I'm starting to put the wheel on and getting ready to check alignment and all that stuff. Before I put the wheel on, I'm like, what the heck is that? And one of them was cracked. And then I walked around on the other side of the car, and that one was cracked too. And they're cracked to the outside, which really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I was wondering, well, what the heck? Because the only difference from cutting them down was putting the studs in, started measuring holes, all that stuff was the correct size. So it was like, well, why the heck did it crack? So I went, well, I'll just go put my old hubs back on. And these are ones that might be the original of the car, and they've been driven hard for 5 years. And I look at these, and there are little cracks between every stud on both of them. But looking at them a little bit more, like I said, these lasted 5 years, and these suckers haven't even been run. And looking at it, be like they're thicker up here. As far as at the top of the width, it's over an 1/8 inch, like 3/16 difference there. The hubs that I've been running are the older ones. They also have a little bit of a extra brace on the back to support it, similar to these, except it's a little taller up, which probably helps a little bit of strength also. And just, I don't know, overall this is a beefier unit that was the original off the car. So if you're gonna do this, at this point, I can't even recommend anything new unless you can find a supplier, because there are a few of them, that's somebody that makes like the thickest, heaviest casting that you can for being able to cut down. Otherwise, like I said, I've gotten 5 years out of the original ones off the car, and I'd be happy to redo that with some more old ones, except I don't have a supply of old rotors and hubs to make use of. I shopped around a bit on the internet. It seemed that all I could find for replacement stuff was either like a Coleman steel one, which my wheels wouldn't fit. It's got the wrong lugs, and it's got a brake rotor mount kind of fabricated into it, but it's only a very specific size brake rotor mount, which a whole bunch of that would need to be either remachined or cut down or welded up or a combination. And I really didn't feel all that great about spending $500 just to cut and weld on something. My other options were, there are a few companies that make aluminum hubs, although I've already found the limit of a heavy cast iron hub. A 6061 aluminum doesn't appeal a whole lot. It might be stronger, but every one of those companies also sells replacement hubs along with their big brake kits. So that tells me that they're probably a wear item, and I don't want another wear item on the car that's a consumable. I want a permanent fix. So I made my own billet hubs. And these are basically taking the best parts of the original cast iron one that I designed and then expanding upon it a bit. I've made a lot bigger, like as big of a radius as I could on the back side. The flange is as thick, and then I just have a little bit of windowing out for weight reduction. It's still as thick at the minimum as these are, which is a 1/2 inch, and otherwise I was just making a nice heavy duty billet hub. I machined these on the mill at work, and I just ran them in the lathe a little bit to clean up a couple of the face surface, because there was a few machining marks in there, and I just wanted it to be completely flat for the wheel surface. And then I cleaned up some tooling marks on the nose, but otherwise, they seem like they came out real great. So I'm gonna get these assembled and put together. Actually, I should probably paint them first, and then I can press studs and stuff in and get them on the car today. Alright, now that we're back to where we were, doesn't look much different from the front side. Everything that's cool is on the back, but just how it is. We're going to cover up with the wheel anyway. Nobody's ever going to see this, but the point is no cracks now, and it should be really strong. So if the stock old stuff that's just plain old cast iron made it 5 years, that I should expect at least more than 5 years out of these. So I'll be pretty happy about that. You know, hopefully it's a permanent fix. That'd be really nice. I tried to leave, you know, as big a radiuses everywhere that I could for strength. I really wish I could have put a bigger one down here, but there's only so much on the brake rotor at that point, and between the couple of brake rotors I had here, it's not exactly super consistent, so I didn't want to get backed into a corner on that. But yeah, we should be able to get this stuff tightened up. Then we got to get the car down on the ground, get the toe kind of close on the alignment, and then put the rest of the body on and all that. Before I get to that point though, because of the change in the spindle, like everything's in a slightly different position, I need to check my bump steer. So I'll be doing that after I get this stuff bolted on, get my brakes and all, everything set up, and then I'll be needing to check the bump steer. We got the car supported at approximately ride height, and I was going to start checking my bump steer and be like, oh yeah, I got to set the toe first because otherwise it's way off. So, got my original Quick Trick kit here. So we're at like 73 1/4 in the back and 77 5/8 in the front. So I'm just going to take half out of each side. It should be pretty close. I don't have the time today with an event coming up tomorrow to really go through and just double check and dial everything and take a baseline like I usually do. But as long as I have it close, it should be fine for tomorrow. And then these are the times I don't love this. Oh, trying to get the bump steer set. It wouldn't repeat. It's not repeating. It just, oh, it's driving me nuts. And I can't even get it like close. Like, it's just atrocious. And I don't know, I've probably been at this for over an hour now. During which time I've discovered that, oh, well, it helps if you tighten up the steering arms on the spindle, because those were still loose. So I did that, and it got better, but it's still not repeating worth the crap. And so I'll start looking for more problems. I got a, big long 5/8 fine thread bolt that's for the bump steer adjustment. Well, walking around and I'm like, what the heck is loose? And I go to that side of the car, and here it's resting against the wheel, so the wheel isn't held straight on that side. which means my initial toe adjustment's way off, which makes a whole lot of sense why I can't make the bump steer work. Now I busted out the new quick trick, which is the 4-wheel string. So now that I got completely lost on where the heck the front end was, now I can see exactly what amount of toe is on each wheel. The toe itself between the wheels isn't that far off, but they're both pointed in different directions, or the same direction, or something. We'll get it fixed. Alright, well, I'm in the process of putting it back together. Got the bump steer to be better. The driver's side is much better than the passenger side. Just where the links for the tie rods need to end up is going to be requiring some changes on the rack and pinion side of things. So it's just as good as I can make it for right now. I ended up going with a lower ride height in the front because that put me in a better window for that. Otherwise it was really bad bump steer, which sucks because with the old spindles it was a really nice. I think both sides were less than 15 thou over 3 inches of travel. I can't even get close to that now. Got to like a plus minus 20 on the driver's side and 2 inches of compression travel, and the passenger side got down to maybe 50. Problem I have right now with bump steers, it's towing out, which isn't the end of the world, because if you're loaded up in the corner and it's getting that compression, they'll tow out is fine. It's just kind of going to act like more Ackerman, but where it's going to be an issue is hitting the brakes in the front end, having the nosedive. So it might be just something that I got to tune around, whether that's setting up the shocks a little bit stiffer, or eventually needing to add some spring. But both of those can be options as long as the roll center change works and it gets less natural roll, because then I can soften up the sway bar. As I say, I'm a little concerned because always a what if something breaks. Well, whether I want to load this in the trailer and drive it down there tomorrow, but I don't think it's going to. If it's something small, I can fix it with a few tools I put in the trunk, but I don't know, it should be fine. How the last event I did last year was driving 3 hours one way, so doing hill climb and then coming back 3 hours, and it was fine for that, and we were still driving around. So really the only thing I need to be concerned about is what's going on in the front end now, which are all significantly upgraded parts, so it should be fine. Well, I'm back. Front end's still on the car. Nothing fell off. It felt good. My toe out alignment for being a little more aggressive for autocross was a little bit sketchy on some of the roads on the way down, but it did all right. It wasn't as bad on the way back, so I don't know if that was just extra cold from this morning on the drive down and it being a little bit wet out, but car drove well. I mean, it did what I expected it to do, so that's a good thing. We'll grab some dinner here, and then maybe I'll put the smaller sway bar on for something to try for tomorrow, since I'm going back to the same place, but it'll be a different course. I don't know, really what I struggled with was rear traction today, and the shocks are down pretty far to take up the bumps for the driving, and the course was fairly rough too, and I got to the point where I was struggling for a little bit of front grip, but it was a very loose top coat gravel kind of a situation on the course. So I mean, even between runs you could notice that certain corners were getting scrubbed down where there's a lot more loose gravel on top, and then even when they are blowing off the track, middle of the day kind of thing, you could see a lot of gravel, loose gravel moving off of the asphalt. So I'm not gonna complain about that too much. It's just, it is what it is sometimes. But I was able to get down, and I think I made 3 runs that were pretty consistent, like within a few tenths of each other. So I mean, that's 50% of my runs for the day, so that's pretty good. Happy with that.